The Graham Norton Show has always been a stage for sharp wit, playful banter, and the occasional celebrity clash. But on this particular night, the red sofa became the battlefield for one of the most humiliating moments of Prince Harry's post-royal career. Sitting alongside Hollywood heavyweight Pedro Pascal, Harry arrived with an air of entitlement, expecting yet another round of carefully managed applause and celebrity validation. What he got instead was a moment so raw, so brutally unscripted, that it left the studio audience gasping, and Harry storming out of the studio in fury. This wasn't just another awkward talk show slip. This was a full public stripping of the royal aura Harry has fought so desperately to cling to since walking away from Buckingham Palace. And the man who delivered this devastating blow wasn't a journalist, wasn't a royal expert, but an actor beloved by millions. Pedro Pascal, known for his charm, charisma, and sharp sense of authenticity. When Harry pressed, almost demanding a royal acknowledgement on air, Pascal's refusal was both emphatic and unapologetic. "You're not royalty here, Harry. Not to me." The studio erupted, some with laughter, others with shocked gasps. The cameras caught Harry's face shift instantly from forced smile to pure rage. And in that instant, any facade of relaxed Hollywood acceptance shattered. He wasn't just Harry, as he once claimed. He was exposed, a man still obsessed with titles, desperate for recognition, and unwilling to let go of the world he abandoned. From the moment Prince Harry walked onto the Graham Norton stage, the energy was uneasy. Unlike past guests who slip into their seats with warmth, Harry's presence was charged with tension. He carried himself with that blend of self-importance and insecurity that had become his hallmark in recent years. He greeted Graham with a handshake that seemed more like a royal inspection than a friendly exchange. Viewers later remarked online that even in those first minutes, Harry looked out of place and unsettled. Sitting between Pascal and a popular British comedian, Harry was clearly trying to dominate the stage, interrupting anecdotes, forcing laughter, and reminding the audience, repeatedly, of his unique royal perspective. It was as if he wanted to remind everyone watching that he wasn't just another celebrity. He was above them. But Graham Norton, ever the master of balance, allowed the tension to simmer without directly challenging Harry. Instead, he gave Pedro Pascal room to speak. And when Pascal did, effortlessly charming the crowd with stories from his blockbuster roles, it became clear Harry wasn't the star of the night. The energy in the room shifted, and for the first time in a long while, Harry wasn't in control. The breaking point came during a seemingly lighthearted exchange. Graham had been joking about titles, actors known for iconic roles, performers forever remembered for one character, and public figures trapped by their labels. Turning to Harry, Norton quipped, "Some people will always call you a prince, Harry, no matter what you say." The audience laughed, but Harry seized on it. Leaning forward, visibly eager, he retorted, "Well, it's not just some people. That title is mine. I was born into it. No one can deny that." The air shifted. It wasn't a playful joke anymore. Harry had turned a light jab into a declaration of superiority. And Pedro Pascal, seated calmly to his side, refused to let it slide. With a smile that carried both amusement and defiance, Pascal replied, "Mate, here, you're just Harry. We don't need titles on this sofa." The crowd erupted in cheers and laughter, but Harry's face tightened. He wasn't laughing. He wasn't charmed. He was insulted. And from that moment, the confrontation grew into something far bigger than a talk show quip. It became a cultural moment. Harry's attempts to reclaim control only made things worse. He cut into Pascal's anecdotes, trying to redirect attention to his own experiences. He invoked his time in the military, his charity work, his struggles with the media, all valid points, but delivered with a sharp edge of self-promotion that jarred with the show's usual rhythm. Pascal, however, remained unfazed. Each time Harry tried to assert his royal authority, Pascal diffused it with ease. "That's all good, man," Pascal said at one point, "but people respect you for what you do, not for what you used to be." The audience applauded, their loyalty visibly leaning toward Pascal. Harry, visibly boiling, shifted uncomfortably in his seat, his jaw tightening. Cameras captured the flicker of humiliation, a man desperate to be seen as relevant. but undone by a guest who wasn't afraid to strip away the illusion. The climax came when Harry, in what many described as a final desperate play, turned directly to Pascal and said, "You might play a Mandalorian, but I was born into a real legacy. Royalty isn't pretend." Pascal, shaking his head, leaned forward and delivered the blow that ended it all. "And yet, here you are, demanding respect for something you walked away from. That's not royalty. That's ego." The crowd exploded. Cheering, clapping, whistling. The atmosphere became electric. Harry sat frozen for a moment, then muttered something under his breath before standing up, ripping off his microphone, and storming off stage. The cameras tried to cut wide, but the damage was done. Millions of viewers witnessed the prince unravel in real time. As Harry disappeared backstage, Graham handled the chaos with practiced calm, quickly moving the conversation forward with Pascal and the remaining guests. But the audience couldn't shake the tension. Phones lit up instantly, with posts flooding Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Clips of Pascal's remarks spread like wildfire. "Here, you're just Harry" became the night's most quoted line. The moment Harry stormed off, cameras struggled to keep pace with the chaos. Audience members gasped while crews scrambled, unsure whether to follow him or keep focus on Pedro Pascal, who had delivered the remark that detonated the entire exchange. Graham Norton, ever the professional, attempted to calm the atmosphere with humor, but the tension in the studio was so thick it drowned out even his sharp wit. What was supposed to be a light-hearted evening of celebrity banter had now turned into one of the most talked-about public meltdowns in modern television history. Pedro Pascal, composed yet visibly irritated by Harry's reaction, doubled down on his statement. Leaning into microphone, he clarified for the audience, "I respect tradition, but respect is earned, not demanded." His words echoed across the studio, and for many watching live, it was a direct, unflinching challenge to Harry's perceived entitlement. The crowd erupted, some applauding Pascal for his boldness, others shocked that anyone would confront a royal so openly on British television. It was no longer just entertainment. It was history unfolding in real time. Reports from behind the scenes later confirmed what viewers suspected. Harry had not expected Pascal's defiance. In recent years, Harry and Meghan had become accustomed to controlling their narrative, whether through carefully crafted interviews, Netflix productions, or memoirs. But on Graham Norton's stage, stripped of handlers and rehearsed talking points, Harry was exposed. His demand for recognition, his insistence on being addressed as royalty despite renouncing official duties, collided head-on with Pascal's unapologetic refusal to bend. It was the one thing Harry had feared most, losing the power of deference. The media frenzy exploded within hours. Headlines screamed of royal humiliation and prince's meltdown, while social media dissected every facial expression, every word, and every second of the confrontation. Clips circulated globally, trending across platforms and drawing millions of views within minutes. Hashtags like Harry Storms Out and Pedro Pascal Truth bombarded Twitter and Instagram feeds. Memes painted Harry as a spoiled child throwing tantrums, while Pascal was hailed as a no-nonsense truth-teller standing up to privilege. The narrative was clear. The public loved seeing Harry challenged, and they relished the spectacle of his undoing. Behind palace walls, however, the fallout was far more complicated. Sources close to Buckingham Palace revealed that King Charles was deeply embarrassed by Harry's conduct, particularly because it reinforced perceptions of the Duke as volatile and entitled. Courtiers worried the incident would widen the already gaping chasm between Harry and the rest of the family. For William, who has worked tirelessly to project steadiness and dignity, Harry's meltdown only underscored the contrast between the brothers. The future king was once again painted as calm and capable, while Harry was portrayed as impulsive, fragile, and self-destructive. What made the incident even more explosive was the cultural clash it represented. Pedro Pascal, a beloved actor known for roles that embody resilience and integrity, became a symbolic figure for ordinary people resisting outdated hierarchies. His refusal to indulge Harry's demands struck a chord in an era increasingly skeptical of inherited titles and unearned privilege. To millions, Pascal's stance wasn't just about Harry. It was about the rejection of entitlement itself. And Harry, rather than recognizing the moment to show humility, instead chose rage, turning himself into a cautionary tale. But perhaps the most damning aspect of the entire debacle was Meghan's absence. Critics immediately pounced, noting that Meghan, often accused of steering Harry's decisions, had not been there to intervene. Some speculated she had deliberately avoided the appearance, wary of potential backlash. Others suggested she was watching closely from California, ready to spin the narrative in their favor. Regardless, the optics were brutal. Harry alone, visibly out of control, publicly undermining his own credibility. Without Meghan to shield or guide him, Harry was exposed, raw, and deeply vulnerable. The days that followed only intensified the storm. Royal experts appeared on morning shows dissecting Harry's psychology, suggesting that his demand to be addressed as royalty revealed unresolved bitterness about his departure from firm. Political commentators weighed in, arguing that Harry's tantrum proved he had not truly let go of the trappings of monarchy. Even comedians joined the fray, mocking the scene in viral skits that reduced Harry's meltdown to a punchline. In every corner of media, Harry's name became synonymous with humiliation, while Pascal's reputation soared. What many failed to realize, however, was how calculated Pascal's stance had been. Insiders revealed that before the show, producers had briefed guests on Harry's sensitivity about titles. Pascal, true to his rebellious nature, made a private decision not to indulge it. His quiet rebellion, when thrust into the public arena, became a global flashpoint. And though some criticized him for being disrespectful, the overwhelming response celebrated his candor. To many, he had said aloud what others were too afraid to. Harry cannot demand respect he has failed to earn. Even Hollywood insiders began whispering about the broader implications. For years, Harry and Meghan had courted celebrity circles, presenting themselves as equals among the stars. But Pascal's refusal marked a shift, a subtle reminder that celebrity respect is not automatic. It must be cultivated through humility, consistency, and contribution. By storming off, Harry alienated the very industry he sought to embrace, leaving him stranded between two worlds. No longer a working royal, yet not fully accepted as Hollywood royalty either.